Good morning, everyone. We are Group A. The team members are Agna, Parmeet, Ishan, Avi, and myself, Misael. On today's presentation, we're going to talk about the company Air Canada. This company was founded in 1937, and it's been operating since in the airline industry non-stop. Uh, in this particular case, we're going to dive into the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities and threats regarding this airline. And we're going to use this information as input to create strategies in order to improve for the company and for it to achieve its goals and objectives. Now I'm going to hand over the presentation to my friend Agna.
Hello guys, my name is Agna. Let's talk about the strengths of Air Canada. The first point will be the market leadership. The airline is the largest airline in Canada with significant market influence. It has strong brand recognition and customer trust. It also has competitive edge through resources and an extensive route network. Now talking about the diverse fleet. There are many of the aircraft. We have like small flight for the small routes and large flights, like a huge flight for the huge distance. It also has ability to cater to different routes types and passenger preferences. Now talking about the strong global network, it is the founding member of the Star Alliance. It has access to an extensive network of partner airlines globally. It also has seamless connections and convenient global travel for passengers. So here you can see the partner Air Canada's partners. It has like, for example, Swiss Airlines, Lufthansa, etc. So now coming to the fourth point, comprehensive service offering. So beyond passenger transportation, it also gives cargo services, loyalty programs, and maintenance and vacation packages. Now coming to the customer experience focus. So continuous investment in improving customer experiences, in-flight amenities like digital enhancement and personalized services. It also has efficiency management initiatives. They also have like proactive cost management strategies, fleet modernization, labor negotiations, and operational streamlinings. And coming to the last part, commitment to sustainability. It has investment in fuel efficient aircraft, partnership with sustainable fuel consortia, and ambitious emission goals and commitment to environmental responsibility. So now I'll pass on to my friend Abby for the weaknesses part. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. About the weakness in Air Canada, usually in a company, when we talk about the a comparison of the weakness, if it's a government-based company, weakness should always be less. But compared to this one, to be honest, there are quite certain weaknesses. And the first one would be the margin pressure, which the Air Canada faces a significant challenge due to persistently high operating cost. For instance, despite a 15% reduction in capacity and an increase in passenger numbers, revenue for the fourth quarter also has been like 2% higher when you compare with 2019's revenue. And this showcases the impact of the cost. And this translates to difficulties in revenue growth and competitive pricing, especially if you compare with WestJet Airways. The price comparison is pretty extensive. And if you take the next topic is about the high debt burden. And even in that, Air Canada grapples with a substantial debt load, which is exacerbated by economic uncertainties. For example, with long-term debt exceeding 3 times its market cap, which stands at $16 billion, the company do face a financial strain. And even if you see each company has their own liquidity backup. And for Air Canada, it has about $5 billion. But in the recent times, it's even the revenue. It has been doubled to 10 billion. But this, despite an 8% billion cash reserve, leads to challenges in sustaining liquidity amid operation disruptions and reduced demand. And in the next slide, it's about the labor management relations, where Air Canada confronts a significant risk in this relation, especially due to the early termination of a long-standing contract by the pilots union. And this comes in context of raising salary demands and job security concerns, which mirrors the action taken by pilots. The rival pilots team, again by the WestJet company. For example, like WestJet had a potential labor unrest which could result in flight cancellation, delays, and passenger discomfort. Even WestJet had the issue, but when they spoke with the union team members, the company came to a conclusion and they rectified it, which is a good thing. And it seems it's going to happen with the Air Canada as well. But I hope they rectify this issue. There might not be any labor issues in the future. It should be like if they impede any effective negotiations, so that we'll see for the future that. And the next is the safety issues concern, where an alarming practice has emerged in Air Canada, where flight cancellation due to staff shortages has been happened. And even due to the staff shortages have happened, the company where outside which they disclose it to the media, they say that it's due to the safety reasons and it's not due to staff shortages, which they don't disclose outside, which is a huge concern. And this strategy, which allowing the airline to circumvent federal laws, raises questions for compliance and impacts customer trust. And the next is the technical glitch and the aging fleet. And recent flight cancellations has been happening in Air Canada, like at most to the recent studies with the Reynolds team. From the Frisk review also, they say that 46% of Air Canada's daily trips has been significantly low due to the operation flaw. And for example, in 2023, like in recent last month, Air Canada experienced technical difficulties that caused 241 flights to be delayed, which is down from 35% the day before and the 30% the day before. And this incident underscores the urgency of ongoing fleet modernization effort to enhance reliability and reduce disruption, which is happening due to the technological problems. And now I'm going to shift it to Mr. Ishan, my friend, for the opportunities.
So hello guys, my topic covered is opportunities of Air Canada. So there are many opportunities of Air Canada that has been covered. Some of them are discussed in front of you. So starting with first is the expansion of route network. So here the company has explored new domestic and international routes and destinations, and they reached out the new markets. So in order to increase revenue sources, they required a careful planning, and they studied due to the risk and the expenses of the they bared out in the expansion of route network. Probing ahead, the another major aspect of the opportunity is focusing on the emerging markets. In that, Air Canada tap into the growth potential of emerging markets, especially in Asia and South America. They requires through the market research and planning to overcome regularity and cultural changes. The next aspect is the enhancing the digital capabilities of the Air Canada. So in that, they streamline the operations and improve customer services and experience and enhance their revenue management through digital technologies. Furthermore, they utilize the automation, artificial intelligence, and data analytics for better decision making and productivity. They require the financial commitment and adaptability for the changing technology landscapes. Probing ahead, the another part covered is the new strategic partnership and alliances, in which the Air Canada investigate the alliances, partnership, and joint ventures to expand the network and improve operational efficiency. They require the meticulous negotiation, clear communication, and coordination for their mutual benefit. And probing ahead, the another aspect that was covered was the focusing on the cargo operations. So this was majorly focused by the Air Canada in order to capitalize on the rising demand for air cargo services, which was due to the e-commerce and international trade growth. They considered the legal compliances, security, and infrastructure for their success. Moreover, the another aspect that was covered is the sustainable aviation and innovation, in which they invested their in the sustainability by adopting the fuel efficient aircraft and alternative fuels. They incorporated the cutting edge technology for a smaller environment footprint. They attracted the environmentally conscious consumers also as well. Another aspect is the lower market communication cost. in which they benefited from the expansion of 5G network in the market communication in order to reduce their transaction cost and enhance technological capabilities and accelerate the consumer access. Moreover, the last aspect that has been covered in opportunities of Air Canada is leveraging Sixth Freedom traffic and bolstering its long haul network, which majorly focused on the Sixth Freedom traffic flows through Canadian hubs to long haul destinations and to collaborate with Toronto Pearson Airport for seamless transfers. And rest was the explore revenue potential from Sixth Freedom traffic. So these all are the opportunities of the Air Canada that has been covered under the SWOT analysis. Now I would like to pass on the information to my friend Mr. Parmeet, Mrs. Parmeet.
Hello, my name is Prameet Kaur, and I am like to talk about the threats of Air Canada. Air Canada, like a major airline, and faces a variety of threats and challenges in its operation. And here I would like to talk about the important threats which are faces by the Canada. The first of all, according to me, the economic downturns. Economic recession or downturn can lead a reduced travel demand as well. People and businesses cut back on the travel expenses. Another thing, according to me, is the fuel price. Fuel price, as the airline Air Canada is a highly dependent on the price of jet fuels, and sharp increase in the fuel price can lead to the increased operational cost. Another thing is the competition. The airline industry is highly competitive, and Air Canada faces competition and from the different kind of domestic and international crisis. And another thing, according to me, the regulation rules and regulation changes. Changes in the rules and regulations such as safety requirement and the environment regulations can also increase the operating cost and also burden of airlines. Another thing is the natural disaster as well. Natural disasters such as volcanoes and several weather event can also be disturb the flight schedules and also lead to financial losses. Next, I would like to passes this slide to the Michelle.
Thank you, Parmit. So to continue with the presentation, now that we have dived into what are the strengths, the weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of Air Canada, we're going to use this information as an input because this information must be transformed into strategies so that the company is able to improve and achieve its goals and objectives. Basically, as you can see at the left, we have all the topics that we have covered in each part and how are they going to become strategies, which is the image that we are looking at the left. For example, how are we going to use the strengths to take advantage from opportunities? How are we going to take advantage of opportunities to reduce the weaknesses? How are we going to use the strengths to avoid the threats? And finally, how are we going to reduce the weaknesses and avoid the threats? So these are the strategies that we have come up with. In the top left part, we have the strengths and opportunities strategies. So we have to maximize these strengths and maximize these opportunities. We basically think that the most important topics here are to create new partnerships with other airlines by using the actual network and the position that Air Canada has locally and globally, develop new routes of service by using the diverse fleet it has, continue developing efficiency initiatives in order to take advantage of the sustainable and innovative aviation new technologies, and improve its technological and digital infrastructure to continue enhancing its service and customer service. To the top right, we have the weaknesses and opportunities strategies, and we have to minimize the weaknesses and maximize the opportunities. So basically, we have come up with taking advantage of new emerging markets as a new source to obtain revenue in order to manage costs and increase liquidity and the payment of the company's debt. How are we going to develop new routes by focusing on cargo operations so that in low demand months, employees can have sustainable jobs and avoid possible strikes? How are we going to develop new technologies within the airline industry in order to create a portal so that customers can receive a fair and just solution to their claims and maybe even obtain some compensations? In the bottom left, we have the strengths and the threats strategies, and how are we going to maximize these strengths and minimize these threats? Air Canada could create packages and special tariffs in order to retain its customers by focusing on giving an excellent customer service and experience, use a sustainability approach to create routes that are efficient so that expenses regarding fuel are reduced as much as possible. And in the bottom right, we have the weaknesses and the threat strategies. So we have to minimize these weaknesses and minimize these threats. Basically, what we have come up with is to evaluate claims individually, include follow-ups so that the customers feel the engagement of the company and they decide to stay with Air Canada over its competitors. And also to renovate the fleet in a stepwise form in order to differentiate from its competitors, because this will generate a feeling of security within the customers with brand and new modern aircrafts. So our recommendations regarding Air Canada are that this company should use its position and its close relationship to the United States to create new routes that will benefit the airline in terms of new businesses and new sources of revenue. Air Canada has been subject to multiple claims and controversies. That's why we are proposing that it should create a portal, give follow-ups to each of the cases it has, and additionally, developing and emerging of new technologies can easily aid the construction of portals or sites to give customers a better service. In order to differentiate from its competitors, Air Canada also should improve its most important strengths regarding customer service and customer experience uh, by including new technologies on board that will make this experience and service better and different from other airlines. Also, Air Canada should continue developing new types of services, such as cargo operations, so that employees are able to work and maintain their jobs. Furthermore, these initiatives will not only generate new sources of income, but will make employees feel more engaged with the company. And last, Air Canada should aim the creation of different routes, not only to attend new emerging markets, but also to make these routes efficient, because the cost of fuel has increased over the years. Additionally, with the creation of new partnerships, the company could create special packages, special tariffs, and different offers so that the clients can make maybe transshipments with other airlines regarding different locations, destinations, airports, regarding Canada itself, or another country globally. Our conclusion is that the company has the sufficient strengths and opportunities to overcome the weaknesses and the threats if they are handled correctly, of course. Additionally, in the recommendations, we are proposing that Air Canada should have a new approach to generate new sources of revenue and income by also reducing its costs and expenses. Some other factors that the company must look after are the new emerging markets and the possibility to creating new partnerships, since these two key findings will give it a position not only locally but also globally. The company should continue improving the customer service and customer experience, since these two key factors are its most important strengths. And finally, with the implementation of these strategies, we believe that Air Canada might also be able to start new businesses, not only in America, but also in other continents such as Asia, Europe, and Africa. Well, this has been the whole presentation. I hope you have enjoyed it, and thank you very much for listening.